know the impact that House Bill 4537 will have on our lives if it gets passed. And something it got passed was the House of Representatives. And we have a special guest here today that, as he was introduced earlier. Representative Bob Flider was the one who started my 2008 off with a bullet, and it's been going ever since then. Because when I came to Representative Flider's office, he said, this idea sounds good, but let's have a resolution instead of a bill. And I said, no, I would like this to become a law. And Representative Flider, at the end of our meeting, he graciously agreed to sponsor the bill in the House of Representatives. It passed 109 yes votes, 1 no vote. Woo! This bill would not have gotten off the ground because bills need sponsors. One of my dreams is to learn Russian, and I laugh into it when I get all emotional. And so, Representative Flider, I'd like to ask you to come up here, and to make a long story short, the last thing I have to say is "Сюда, спасибо тысячу раз," which means, sir, thank you 1,000 times.
Thank you 1,000 times. I'm standing here today and participating in your meeting and hearing you speak, and what a wonderful award this is. You know, as a state legislator, this is my 6th year as a legislator, and I've received a few awards from the Farm Bureau, helping airports, helping people in the healthcare industry. But I honestly have to tell you that I've never received a more important award than this today. I really. Something happened to me working with Amy and Shirley that. And it happened to other legislators as well. I saw it happen. And if I can have a few minutes, I'd just like to share some things, my thoughts. But, Shirley said that everyone has gifts and talents and contributions, and each of you is wonderful. And I couldn't say anything more than that. I think it's so true. And just hearing you talk today, Amy, what you went through, the other speakers went through, the challenges that people with disabilities face, if they're not tough enough, you have to be stronger than most people to deal with the misunderstandings, the attitudes. And let's face it, anybody who would say to somebody that they hate people with autism, there's something that person is missing. That person's small. That person's smaller than most people. And it doesn't mean that person, there's just something wrong, that something happened in that person's life. But nothing compared to some of the challenges that you faced. And through this legislation, we have a chance to educate people so that no one has to live with that kind of attitude. No one has to live with that kind of feeling. So not only are you gifted and wonderful, but you are strong. You are stronger than most people who you went to school with, who you work with. You are the strongest people on earth. God gave you that gift. And you should give yourself a round of applause for all of you. The young man came up. I came in a little early and I had a chance to hear your thoughts and things that you thought were important to speak out session. And the young man said that he didn't think of himself as disabled. He thought of himself as a person like anybody else. And that's so true. You are, but you're strong. You're stronger. You're stronger than most people. You are above average. You really are. And the story of House Bill 4537, when Amy came to my office, I can tell you, being in the legislature, a lot of times, you know, when somebody comes up with a piece of legislation, and this started from scratch, okay? So what happens is a piece of legislation is an idea. The idea is that we can make the world better by passing a law. And so she had this idea that we should have disability education taught in our schools. And she thought the world could be better by passing this law. Well, I was in Springfield. I've been in Springfield long enough to know that there's a lot of people in Springfield who say, well, if you want to pass a law to tell the schools what to do, the schools are probably going to oppose it. They're going to say, oh, it's another mandate from government. We're going to have to follow this law. It's going to cost us money. We're going to have to create a curriculum. Our teachers are going to have to teach this new class. We already have too much to do. We're going to oppose this law. And that's why I said to Amy, I said, what if we start with a resolution? And a resolution, those are easy to pass. Because what happens is, with a resolution, it says, we think you should teach about disability education awareness. And the House would pass that resolution, and the Senate would pass the same resolution that says, we think the school should pass that disability education awareness. But you know what? They wouldn't have to. It wouldn't be mandated to.
No.
It wouldn't be a law that they had to. It's just a bunch of people in Springfield in the House and the Senate saying, we think the school should do this. And then the schools should pay attention or they wouldn't have to pay attention. But Amy said, you know, Representative, and this is where leadership really comes in. Somebody who believes, says, no, that's not good enough. She said, Representative, we really need to see this in the law. We really need to see this in the books. We need to see it so that the schools will need to do this, so that they will be forced to teach about disability awareness. And she explained to me why that was important. And I said, okay, let's give it a try. So we had the bill drafted. Blank sheet of paper, we had it drafted. She gave me some ideas on how it should be drafted, and we worked on it a little bit. And we introduced it, and it had to go through the process of being considered, had to get out of the Rules Committee to go to the Education Committee. And I was a little concerned that it wouldn't pass that first test with the leadership, it wouldn't come out of the Rules Committee, because somebody there may say, oh, another unfunded mandate. You know, what would happen? But it did come up. It popped up.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
They passed it out of the Rules Committee. They sent it to Education Committee. Well, when it got to the Education Committee, there's about 25, 30 people on that committee. And a lot of them are former teachers, former superintendents. And then, when you think about Springfield, what happens is the schools and the teachers and administrators, they all have lobbyists. So they got a copy of this bill and they said, oh, no, we can't do that. It's an unfunded mandate.